Hey there guys, John Campea here, and thanks for visiting my movie vlog, and this is my quick review of the new Netflix season of The Defenders. And I'll be honest with you, I have no idea how I'm going to do this. It's an extremely tricky proposition to try to review an entire season of a television show in just a couple of minutes without going into spoiler territory, without revealing too little or too much, but I'm going to do my best. Most of you already probably know the basic premise of what The Defenders Season 1 is. You, of course, got the Devil of Hell's Kitchen. You've got the Hero of Harlem. You got Jessica Jones. You've got the immortal Iron Fist, all teaming together to stand up against the Hand. The Hand is once again the big baddie in this Netflix Marvel Cinematic Universe, if you will, as they have been for a lot of the shows. Except this time we've got a new big baddie being played by the immortal Sigourney Weaver. A lot of us were really excited when we found out Sigourney Weaver was going to be in this season. She's going to be the villain. And of course, if you didn't know she was the villain, that means you didn't watch the trailers, because that made it pretty damn clear. And I gotta tell you, Sigourney Weaver fit right in. I remember the one worry I had about Sigourney Weaver being in this season of Defenders as the villain per se was that, can she pose or ever feel physically threatening? And I'm going to tell you, they do a great job without ever having to make her do too much physically to make her feel like an ominous threat when she's in the room. And they did a very good job of that. Again, don't expect to see a whole lot of Yoda fighting scenes with Sigourney Weaver diving off walls and all that. Don't expect to see a lot of that, but they do a good job without giving anything away of making you feel like she is a massive physical threat when she's in the room. You'll just have to see what I mean. And I'll tell you this, I liked it. I liked Defenders. By the time the final episode played, there's only 8 episodes, but by the time the final episode played out and the end credits rolled, I felt pretty satisfied. I enjoyed it. And I wasn't quite sure how I was going to feel, because I'll be dead honest with you. I did not like Jessica Jones. I thought it was a great idea that just wasn't executed right. I know a lot of you love it, and that's fine. That's just my opinion. I only half liked Luke Cage. I thought the first half of Luke Cage season 1 was terrific, and I thought the second half of Luke Cage season 1 was not so hot, and I did not like Iron Fist whatsoever. So I wasn't really sure what to expect going into this, and I'm going to tell you this too. The first couple of episodes of The Defenders are kind of painful. They're painfully slow. They really do move at a snail's pace. And I'll be honest with you, I almost abandoned it. Like, not entirely abandoned it, but I was binge watching it and I almost abandoned my binge watch. I thought, maybe I'll just stop it now and come back to it in a week or two, because it is pretty damn slow at the beginning. And oh my God, Finn Jones is every bit as bad as Iron Fist as he was in Iron Fist season 1. And now, at least in the first couple of episodes, every time he spoke, I felt like he was the whiny little brat, and not like, that's not because that's the way the character's supposed to be. He just does not know how to communicate this character. But I will say this. Once we got into episode 4, once we got past the first 3 episodes, I found him improving a bit. Give credit where it's due. I actually thought Finn Jones got better as Danny Rand Iron Fist as the season progressed, because like I said, especially the first 2 episodes, I was like, every time he spoke, I wanted to cringe, but he started to grow into the role on me. I'm not going to say he was a standout, amazing guy in the show. Not at all. His performance is still a little bit shaky, but I will say that by the time we got to episodes 6, 7, and 8, I liked him a whole hell of a lot more than I did in Iron Fist season 1 or the first couple of episodes of Defenders. Couple of fan favorites, of course, make their appearance in this season that we've seen in other seasons of the Netflix cinematic universe, if you will. Scott Glenn is back as Stick. You saw him a lot in the trailers. Actually, the trailers make it almost look like the Defenders is not a team of 4. Trailers kind of made it look like the Defenders is a team of 5, and I'm not going to lie to you, for a chunk of this season of Defenders, that's kind of how it feels like in the show as well. Madame Gao is back. I'm going to tell you, she's got to be my top 3 favorite characters in this whole Netflix universe. Every time Madame Gao shows up with her little walking stick and the way she speaks and talks, I just get excited. I just think she's one of the absolute coolest characters. Of course, Rosario Dawson is back. I believe she's now been in every single Netflix series. She is basically the Claire character played by Rosario Dawson. She's kind of the Nick Fury, if you will, of this whole band of the Defenders, and she really does play that role in this season. She actively is the one who kind of starts bringing that group of, that team, if you will, together, makes the introductions, gets them working together. So Claire is the Nick Fury of the Netflix universe. Now, as far as the other 3 leads go, although I didn't like the series season 1 of Jessica Jones, I thought Kristen Ritter was actually really strong. I think she's a great actress, and I think she played the role really well, and she only continues that even more in The Defenders. I thought she was very convincing. I bought into her character right away, and I thought she played it great, both being vulnerable and a badass at the same time. So she played that exceptionally well. Charlie Cox, what can you say? Daredevil is the Batman of this Netflix universe. He's the guy with no superpowers per se, but he's the one that everybody kind of looks to and turns to. And that's not a bad thing. When I say he's kind of like the Batman of this universe, that's not a negative thing at all. I mean that in the best possible way. And because you wonder when they start bringing these individual characters together, what kind of chemistry will they form? And what kind of role will each of them play in the team per se? And I really like the way Daredevil fit into his role. I love the way Jessica Jones played into her role. Of course, you've got Luke Cage back. Mike Coulter is back, and he's fantastic. Once again, he's kind of like the moral North Star of the group. Like if any of these members of the Defenders can be called the Boy Scout, it's definitely Luke Cage. And again, I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a very positive way. And he plays the part just fantastic. Elodie Young, of course, is back as Elektra. You knew she would be, because after Daredevil season 2, everybody was just talking Elektra. Elektra. And of course, the way season 2 of Daredevil ended, you knew she was going to come back. Just didn't know if she'd be coming back in Defenders or whether she'd be coming back for Daredevil season 3. We, of course, saw in the trailer she was back for Defenders. She plays an extremely large and important role. Sometimes people play important roles, but they're not necessarily large, or large roles not necessarily important. Elektra is a big key figure in the entire season of The Defenders. Keep your eye open for that. I think a little bit of the plot that I can give you without being spoilery that you don't see in the trailers per se is that, okay, so the Hand is back. They're threatening New York City. Obviously, New York City is always in peril. That's the Netflix thing. Anyway, so the Hand is back, and they want Iron Fist. They don't want him dead. They want to kidnap and get their hands on Iron Fist. Why? Well, that's kind of part of the mystery, and that's kind of part of the whole essence of season 1 is, number one, that they want Iron Fist, and we don't know why. Only the Hand knows why, and kind of figuring out and piecing together the puzzle is kind of like the spine of the story of this season of Defenders. Defenders does a really good job just having one main story that it follows through from episode 1 to episode 8, and it really does involve Iron Fist as a central figure. At least he's a really important, he's the MacGuffin, if you will, of Defenders season 1, and it's actually quite interesting. I like the way it played out. Now, among the many things that people were critical of Iron Fist about, one of them was bad fight choreography. Now, there was the odd fight that looked really good, but a lot of the fight choreography in Iron Fist looked really poor. Now, whether that was Finn Jones's fault specifically or the choreographers they had, whatever. Lots of fights, especially once you get past the first couple episodes of Defenders. Once you get into episode 3, 4, 5, 6, lots of hand-to-hand combat, lots of fights, and they all look significantly better than they did in Iron Fist. I was actually really riveted by it. I thought it was really exciting. There are a couple of characters from the Netflix universe I was kind of hoping to see pop up, and a lot of the characters do pop up. Colleen is back. She was probably the best part of the Iron Fist series. She's back. She plays a big role as well. There were probably, though, a couple of characters, I won't say which ones, that I was hoping would pop up, and they didn't. And once you see season 1 of Defenders, you'll probably be thinking the same couple of people that I am, but whatever. Look, overall, good villain. Most of the leads were good, not so much Finn Jones, but he does show marked improvement, I will say. Finn Jones shows playing Iron Fist, so that's good too. A good overall story, a flavoring of a lot of the different characters from the various Netflix universe shows, all peppered in there. Some good action, and overall, I liked it. Like I said, it starts off weak. If you haven't started watching Defenders yet, just buckle in. You just got to grit your teeth and get through the first couple of episodes. I promise it then picks up and gets more entertaining. So I don't know what y'all are going to think about it, but overall, you know what? Coming off a couple of poor outings of Netflix shows, I like Defenders. I thought it was pretty good, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Anyway, that's just my opinion of the show. Have you seen Defenders yet? What are your expectations if you haven't? Jump down to the comments section and leave me your thoughts. And while you're here, make sure you take a second, click on the subscribe button, become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. That'll do it for me, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me, and until next time, bye-bye.